So
You need everything evidently. If that will tax isn't gonna cover.
the first thing we need to address, is, we'll go with, roll real quick. Only ones we're missing is Mr. Belcher and Jeff Gregory. Jeff must still be in Aruba.
I think he is.
Lucky son of a gun.
Amen.
So,
November the 6th.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not on that I was here. Was I not here?
yeah, you listed. Member present.
All right, I'm looking on my phone and I just
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I
You're listed.
couldn't see it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Jeff's the only one that was absent.
I knew I missed one time, but it was on back.
No worries.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
You did last week. I seconded.
All right. So that, is that our approval for both December and November?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you had a chance to look through the December ones?
I got it on.
I mean, the
December and November.
Okay.
All right. So
I looked at it. I got it on my
Is
phone.
that a motion? You need a motion? He's got a
I got a
motion?
motion and a second with.
Already on.
Mr. Kerr.
Mr. Kerr.
Mr. Kerr.
Were you the first? No, it was first. Okay.
David was first. Mrs. Kerr was second.
Miss.
Miss. Oh, sorry.
MZ, Ms.
Judy was second. All right,
Did we vote?
we have not.
Uh,
Yeah, all in favor. Everyone says aye. Very good. No one opposed? All right, minutes are as stand.
Thank you.
All right, so what you have in front of you is a hard copy of the combined ordinance for Hartsville, Trousdale County zoning. Rosalie and I went through the whole, all but the appendixes, because those are, that's your floodplain stuff that comes from the federal that he put in. That's the FEMA stuff. That's all that we pulled out of the actual hard document and put in an appendix. So as those change from year to year, all we do is
you change it.
we just pull one out, we vote, yes, we want to do it, and you just replace that appendix. You don't have to go through the document searching for all the verbiage.
Good.
So in doing that, as you can see, we found a few things. So most of it was verbiage that is no longer acceptable in this time and date versus what it was 40 years ago. We had to modernize some of the language. We'll put it that way. There were some of the departments that were no longer, they're not called that anymore. So we updated and edited and put in the new name for those state departments. We pulled out some things. I found in this process, because I had Amanda Harrington go through it also. I wanted as many eyes. That's why I asked all of y'all to go through it also. I want as many eyes going through here to make sure we weren't adding new regulations. We were doing our due diligence to just combine what we had. So I had a Zoom meeting with Rosalie, myself, Amanda Harrington, and Rick and Gregory. And we're all going, and she's going through all the things that she's found. And I was like, wait, and Rick's like, well, no, that's not in our regulations. And so I had to stop her. I was like, this is not the stage where we fix all the holes that we are now found since we've done this. This is the stage where we put it together, we get it approved, then all your things you found are valid. We will bring those back and start making amendments as we go forward. This is a very easily amendable document now where you can just add it. Once it passes as an ordinance, you can put it back in. But we're not changing anything. You know, I've said that I can't remember how many times. We're not trying to scoot any extra in. We are just trying to clean everything up and have a cohesive document. Well, Rick had put in some things. Some of the things that he had asked us in the meetings prior, that was him trying to fill in blanks. So we had to go back through there, and Rosalie and I were looking at the original, and if we couldn't find it, what he had in the new document in our original, and we went back looking at the ordinances and stuff that had passed that never even got put into the, then we pulled that out, and we have that setting aside so that when this is passed, we can bring that back up. We can review those things, decide if we want to put them in or not. Some of it was the International Building Code stuff. Well, we vote on those every couple of years, so we pulled those out because that's in a whole nother document. So that this is as close as we can get to exactly the original. And like I said, we went through, I ended up taking the day off yesterday, came up here, Rosalie and I sat down. I had my hard copy, she had a hard copy, she had her computer, I had my phone, and we're just back and forth. And then sat down in Ms. Thomas's office and had her make all the adjustments for the numbering and the format. So we now have a completed document ready to be voted on, ready to be gone through. Ms. Thomas emailed it to Brendan Beller along when we emailed it out to all of y'all. So he's reviewing it. With this body's approval, this, I feel very strongly, is ready to go to be reviewed at planning and then be passed on for a full vote in February. So I will have Rick come up on that work session for February, just in case there's any further questions on the document. Yes, there are holes in this document, and as far as planners would look at it. But that's not what we were here doing. We weren't here filling holes. We were here just combining it. So we have all the stuff that Rick has found. I have all the things that Rosalie and Amanda found. So we have a list of things that planners would like to see in our zoning. Now, whether the full commission agrees or not, that's yet to be determined. That's another fight for another day. And some of them I agree with, and some of them I think they're a little much. But that's for the whole body to decide, not us. That being said, does anyone have any more questions on this document? As you'll notice on all your documents, yours says zoning ordinance. The one that Rick originally gave us said resolution.
Right.
We changed that on purpose. In Trousdale County, resolutions are statements only. Only ordinances are laws. The way it was with the two documents, and I can never remember which one was which, but one was ordinance, one was resolution. Now, according to Rick, typically across the state, zonings are resolutions. But because of the way we operate in Trousdale County, we went ahead and we changed it to ordinance, which one of them was already an ordinance. So now we just keep that. So these are laws. The others have been taken as laws. They just said resolution. So for clarity's sake, that's why it's different. That's all I got to say about it. I'm honestly done talking about it. It has been I'm not even going to say a labor of love. It's been a labor. It was more than I expected.
It was a lot of effort for sure.
It was a lot. So
So
are there
It
any?
was.
I agree. It's one of the
think
things that I
we do
ran
need
on.
to state, David, though, that yes, this has all the original from both. It also has the addition of the
It does
PUD
have the additional.
and the
PUD.
commercial PUD.
Yes.
So that's the only new things really.
So when
that
you
are
put up
in
and
this.
tell them, you need to put, say, it's got
Yes.
the old and new and
And we are adding an option, and they can take the full document as is, or they can decide they don't want to do PUDs. Honestly, I think it's foolish not to do the PUDs. I think
Right.
it is more security for us, and it's also more security for the developer. They know that their project is moving forward. They don't have to worry about coming back and someone not liking a project and getting it shot down when they got their rezoning. Rosalie and I both were talking yesterday. When it comes to the PUD, well, let's wait on that discussion. First off, you have um, you have the body of work in front of you. I would like to entertain a motion to move it on forward and be accepted.
Is that motion inclusive of the changes that you've got flagged?
Yes, what you have in front of you, all the changes are made. This is a finished document
Yes.
as to present, ready to present.
Perfect.
I feel very, very comfortable.
So Lonnie makes the motion, David makes a second. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. So under other, on this PUD, we discussed this, I know at least in 2 different meetings, of the idea of trying to make it a little more favorable for developers to go with the PUD than just open zone. Rosalie and I were discussing the different fee structure. Right now, when you go through and you're gonna get the zoning plus a site plan, the traditional, you bring a major project in right now, this is what it's gonna cost you. So you're gonna come in and you're gonna get your building permit, your impact fees, you're gonna pay that. That's not gonna change. But then when you come in and come before planning, you're going to get your rezoning if you need it. So you're going to pay for your rezoning. That was $350, correct?
Okay, so you just said they come and get their building permit, pay their impact fee. That doesn't happen until
Yes.
everything's set.
But those, no matter
Okay.
how they do it, those
Right.
fees don't change. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Gotcha.
I'm
Okay,
only wanting to address the fees that would be different.
gotcha.
So you're coming in for your rezoning, that's $350.
$350 for going before the planning commission and 2 meetings with the county commission.
Yeah.
Plus the $150 sign deposit,
Yeah.
because that has to be paid too.
And then that's refundable if the sign comes back undamaged. So that's your rezoning cost. Now you gotta come back to planning. You've got your zoning the way you want it. You come back to planning. Now you got your site plan. Okay, so your site plan is gonna cost you another $350.
No,
Okay,
site plans are $250 plus $150 for a sign deposit, because that also has to be
yeah, so
public
that's,
hearing.
that's another $150. All right, so that was your preliminary that you bring in. And then you gotta pay another $250,
No.
or does
site
that
plans
take care
are-
of it?
The way I say it is site plans are one and done.
Okay.
You don't have to go multiple times for a site plan.
All right, so now you got your site plan approved, you've already got your rezoning approved, and you're at $600. Plus your 300, that's refundable. Okay? So initial cost is gonna be $900, you get 300 of it back. That's the way we do it right now. When you do a PUD, you would come in, you would do your site plan and your rezoning at the same time. So that's just one fee of $350 plus your sign. And you're done. Because your site plan is being approved at the same time as your zoning. You still have your 150 to your sign, but you save $250. And that 150 comes back to you.
Are you wanting to go up on it?
No, I'm not. I'm wanting it to be on camera to show it will be cheaper currently to do a PUD.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can encourage, so because we either do it one of 2 ways. We either encourage them financially to do PUDs, or we as a commission just quit approving open zones and make them do PUDs. But you gotta get 11 people to agree to do that. And I think the financial, $250, it's $250.
Yes, they can't, basically, they can't lie to you
Yep.
with a PUD, but they can with the others. So if they want to do something shady, $250 ain't nothing.
Fair enough.
No,
But I'm just,
But I
like I
will say
said,
this much.
this is the current structure.
yeah, I know. what you're
In
saying.
the current structure, it would already be cheaper.
To get 11 people to agree to this,
Mhm.
it's all in the power of the presentation.
It is.
You get one opportunity to come forward with anything. And once it gets soil and people's agendas gets involved.
Yeah.
You don't have an opportunity to bring it back. So, in my humble opinion, to take this to the commission, everything needs to be spelled out. The advantage.
Yeah.
Versus the disadvantage.
And that's the conversation I'm wanting to have. So,
That's right. And so, I mean, just knowing that.
yeah,
When that comes forward, if there's anything left out. If there's anything left to question, I mean, you won't get another opportunity.
So here's the thing that I see. So it first goes to planning, right? And typically planning looks for a typical rezone. They look at, okay. They look at all the criteria for a rezoning. We look at where is it? What's the zoning of the surrounding properties? Does it have the infrastructure to support that zone? Okay, so they take some time on doing this. Then in with this, they'll also have to do a site plan review, which is going to take an additional time. You think the county commission, and I think we're probably going to need to do some training with the county commission, because they're also going to be looking at that site plan. You know, a lot of times they do want to know, okay, what did the planning commission say? What was their statement? How did they feel about this? So I think we're also going to need to educate the county commission on, okay, what is a site plan? And got a solution here. We just did a training at the BZA on why are site plans important for development. If I recall correctly, when we first had Rick bring in documentation, was it from Cheatham County? He brought the PUD and the commercial PUD.
Mhm.
Did he? I thought he brought a fee schedule that was associated with that, and it was more.
it was more in for
Than that.
Cheatham County. Because it was a little more in depth. The way they looked at it is they were charging more, but they were only approving PUDs. They didn't really give you a choice anymore. If you were doing,
I
you
thought
know,
they had other rezonings because their PUD was 5 acres.
but I said for the larger projects, according to Rick, the commission had gone ahead on their own and had quit approving rezonings for large projects unless they were a PUD.
Gotcha.
They wanted it locked in.
Can we do?
We can. That's what I was.
Well,
That's one of the options.
What is the advantage of us with PUD only, and what is the advantages of leaving
Well,
open?
think about it. Right now, the county commission already looks at stuff as if we have PUDs, which I've been trying to get that, and Landon's been pushing to get people to quit looking at it that way. Quit asking what the project is that they're wanting for this rezoning. Look at what's the worst they can do in this rezoning. Because open zoning, that's what you have to do. This would allow them, when you ask, well, what project, what are you wanting to do with the property? Here's my site plan. And if I can't change it, once you approve it, I can't deviate from this without bringing it back.
Like you said, with the open, they can tell you whatever, they don't have to follow it.
Exactly. We've got a couple of properties already sitting that way.
And I mean, honestly, with a PUD, they can be 100% honest and something changed, all they can do is come back and get it redone, right?
Just
Yeah,
like,
they have to come back and get it reapproved.
Yeah.
So if they do a major change, it's as if they're coming back for a whole nother rezone. So
With all those same.
with all the same fees, because they have to come back through the full process again. Not only does now planning can approve minor changes as long as it stays within the approved structure that the commission has approved. You know, if you want to do one type of tree versus another type of tree, that can all be done within planning. Yes, buffer strips and all that's included.
The buffer strip,
Real quick.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
we're
Sorry.
going to be
My apologies.
using the definition of the buffer strip, and it doesn't necessarily detail the exact trees in the buffer strip.
It doesn't.
Just
That was a general of a minor,
Gotcha.
you know,
So,
one type of curbing versus another type of curb. Those are minor changes. A major change was, hey, we want 20 more parking spaces or 20 less parking spaces. Well, sorry, your site plan has you at this number. And so
I guess.
that's major.
Would what Satterfield wants be a major, if that was a PUD down there?
Yes. And even not being a major on the site plan, it's still a major, even though it's not a PUD. because he's wanting to redirect the flow of drain water away from his drainage plan. So that's a previous conversation before the meeting came up down with the field house that they're building.
Why do they still have any say in
Is the.
I don't have an answer to
Education
that.
allowed them to do that.
I thought he
Board
retired.
of Education allowed them to do that. My question too, okay, so they come to planning.
Mhm.
And we look at the zoning, the surrounding, does it fit?
Mhm.
Do they have infrastructure? What if the site plan doesn't work?
Well, then we said it with an unfavorable of the county
And
commission.
we say why?
Yeah, and then the county commission looks at it and says, well, we agree too, and so no, we won't rezone this.
Okay, but what if they go ahead and say, well, it's okay to us,
To the commission after
Yeah.
the.
the
They've
county
done that.
commission? Yeah.
And they've done that. I don't have a cul-de-sac at the end of my road,
Well, the county commission didn't do that,
but it's the same,
Yes.
it's the same
So-
general. I mean, we have
Right.
stuff that happens like that.
Unless it goes against what the current code adoption is, then I think.
Yeah.
And I'm just I need to think this through.
That's a very valid question because, and I want to talk with Amanda and I want to talk with Rick about that. Because that goes into the county commission sets laws. If the county commission says that, yes, you can do that site plan, although it's contrary to our zoning law, in that move, they're creating new zoning. They're setting
I
new
don't think we can
precedents.
break the law.
No, the county commission makes the law
So we couldn't approve something if it breaks it.
without changing the law.
So we just couldn't do it.
You can change the law at any time, Judy. So
Well, I mean.
in
this has
approving
gone-
approving that project would now create new zoning.
But I'm saying we couldn't approve it at that point. The ordinance would have to be changed before we could approve.
And I'm saying what the approval process is changing that ordinance
But if it goes against ADA, if it goes against federal law
or state.
and we're state,
Mhm.
then the county commission can't do that.
Look, but what you're saying, the county
Mhm.
commission could accidentally, just because there's 11 people, everyone doesn't always understand everything.
Right.
We haven't.
That's the majority.
Sure, you got
Oh, okay.
20 people, you gotta have that.
Wait a second.
Eleven votes.
And if it's, we have to be able to guard ourselves against an accident, just because we accidentally approve something.
At
That
that
shouldn't
point,
change the law.
it should, you're right. And that's where I believe you have three good groups. You have county commission, you have the planning commission, and you have BZA. And each one is trained to do a different thing. Planning is trained to look at those fine details on these site plans, knowing the different regulations, having those conversations with staff who that's what they do, making sure that everything is in coordinates. County commission is not trained that way. County commission's trained for the bigger picture. Yes, this fits the zoning. Planning commission has looked at it. Planning commission says it doesn't fit. Why doesn't it fit? Okay, here's the reasons. Okay, here's the zoning that says you can't do that. Okay. Then you would go, no. Okay, or how can we change your plan and work with said developer to make it work? And then it goes back to planning.
So here's the other thing. If it doesn't necessarily follow our ordinances,
Mhm.
perhaps they should go to BZA first to ask for their variance.
That would be my thought.
And then they come to planning for their rezoning with their site plan that they've got together.
That's
With
how
the
we
Okay,
variance.
do,
that-
With the variance.
With the variance.
that's how we do site plans now. So you get everything in order
Got it.
before it would come to the commission.
And they would have to pay.
Yeah.
For the BZA,
Yep, they have to pay for the BZA and,
if
and
they
have
want to
that
do
meeting.
something outside the norm
I think,
or the allowed.
and I think that's the correct pathway
Yeah.
because each group is trained in a certain way.
Yes.
The commission is supposed to depend on the valuation of planning and BZA that when the commission gets something, it's It's a yes or no vote.
So if they have a variance that was outside our ordinance, would
Mhm.
that change the law?
No, it's a variance.
Okay,
And it
that
would,
takes care of that problem.
Yeah,
It's a
because the
right, it's a
BZA,
rider addendum for, an
BZA
exception.
has that legal authority to do that. Planning Commission does not.
BZA has that.
BZA has that.
quasi judicial. Yes, right?
Yep,
So they can
they're losing
on
their boss.
Who is their boss?
So,
that's another conversation.
so you're saying you would like to have it 350 for the PUD. Now, commercial, do we need to keep that at 350 for rezoning for commercial? Because
Yeah.
now they're wanting to do,
The mixed use where it has both and that's a benefit.
that's a whole other,
That's a lot.
that's a whole other thing.
That's what we need to, like I said, I've gone over what the current is.
Mhm.
And if they have to go to BZA, that is another 350, correct? That's what we were discussing yesterday.
Yes.
So that would be another $350 you'd have to pay if you had to go get a variance through BZA. And then you would come back to planning. When you came back to planning, that's still included in the original 350 fee you paid. But if you did a PUD or you didn't do a PUD, if you had a variance, it'd still be the same cost. You're still saving that $250 doing a PUD. Or do we want to do $600 fee for doing a PUD? And that's just what it costs.
well, I mean, if there's an option, people will opt out
Exactly.
unless,
Unless it's financially beneficial for them to do it.
I don't know that it is financially beneficial to take it to 6.
Yeah, if you leave it with a $250 discount, you can show, hey, we can save you some money if you'll do it this way. And it pushes them in a way that benefits the county more than the open benefit.
What's gotta happen is we've gotta restrict people from going through and go through planning and stuff and then doing something completely 180-degree opposite of what they said. Those days need to be over.
You're talking about in R3.
I agree with that, but we gotta find some way.
You just
For
take it off the
R2.
table.
That's what we're trying to do.
R2 too.
No,
Yeah, because R2 is multifamily out in the general services.
As long as it has access to sewage.
Well, that's infrastructure.
But that is something that, I made a comment when the discussion came up about annexing and whatnot of that property on Cemetery. Landon asked, well, couldn't they just be R2 in the county? And that particular property could have, because it had access to sewer. But if you had an R2, say on Gravelly Hill, you can't have R2 up there because there's no
Utility.
there's no sewer to support it. So there is R2 in the county, but only along the boundary with the city where you can have access to sewer. That's the way it's written. So yes, I was right. You don't have R2 out in the county.
You do
Yes,
on
I
the
was
fringe
wrong.
of,
You
they
do.
do only on the fringe of urban service,
Yeah, you got to have access to sewage.
which at some point in time in the future, those fringe areas will end up being annexed into urban service anyway.
And I say that based on the way the ordinance is written on that. It says it has to be access to sewage.
Which is sewer or
A septic
septic
field big
that
enough.
TDEC approves.
Okay.
And that's
So you
the
could do it.
caveat. We,
So if you had a field that was big enough to support a 6-bathroom house, you could do what, 2-bathroom houses?
You have to have your duplicate soil area too.
well.
3
that's-
units
yeah.
with 2 bathrooms
And that's only if TDEC
approved.
approves that. I wouldn't permit it unless I had
Yeah.
TDEC approval for any of that.
So,
And again, that tricky thing is when you have to get into the duplicate soil area.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of things out of play.
and I'll be honest with you, sitting on
Septic
planning
units.
commission, if someone brings a site plan in and they're using shared septic fields, so you have a right of way onto your neighbor's property for your sewage line to go to because your land doesn't perk. I absolutely hate that. We still have to, legally we have to approve it, but if there's any way to cut the property up differently, I try to ask. Because I look at it down the road of,
That's just trolling.
you're just,
I mean,
that's just
the thing
problem
is down the
between
road, I
neighbors.
mean, it won't, you can't force somebody into a septic right away onto your land, can you?
Yes, you can, if that's the way it was originally subdivided.
If the developers had their plats approved with all those septic easements everywhere,
You can't deny an existing easement.
you're,
But without said easement, you can't just force it
Yes.
on an adjoining property.
If they didn't have an easement before and
Well,
you
you
don't
would
grant
hope
them
that they
one,
went, before they bought, that they looked.
well, we don't approve any
Guy used
subdivisions.
to call me and ask me if he could put his septic on me.
What'd you say?
Yeah, $30,000.
I'll sell you that sliver of land for 30,000.
Give him the right to
Right
do
away.
it, but he didn't take it. And magically, that land ended up perking.
Yeah,
Right?
his land basically perked.
Well, there's a saying that Mr. Kerr says in planning all the time, with enough money, anything can pass.
and there's also times where people buy property and they don't realize there's septic easements on their property from their neighbors.
Just calling to tell you.
I mean, it's wrote in your.
We don't control what happens during close.
Thing is, those septic easements completely curtail your activities on that said portion of your own land.
Like you said, that's trouble down the
Cable
road.
across
So I mean, that
the,
could be as much as half your property.
And
that
you can't grow a garden on it, you can't do nothing with it. All you can do is mow it.
Absolute perfect yard, living beside somebody that don't care, and then they get to dig it up.
So once we get this through, that is something I'd like to take up. I would like to do an ordinance stating that you
Can't share.
you must have your own septic area on your property. That you can't do shared easements.
Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know. I want to look into it.
Yeah.
I wanna-
Check that.
I don't know if the state will let us do it. If they will,
Yeah,
I really would like to,
I get it. I
because
have
that,
people coming in.
Yeah.
that These have been done 20 years ago.
My mother got into a situation like that 30-some years ago, and it was a mess when she sold it.
We'll get into that right now. And it's Tommy Thompson's house, so of course, but he bought Tommy's old house.
yeah,
They first cut him off where he had to have a septic tank. But then the sewage, but he had to have a pump to go up to the road. Never did work.
Oh my goodness.
So then Tommy allowed him to go across that land that now they've sold. And built houses on it.
And
It
that
goes down to Thompson Lane.
and that easement's still there.
That easement's still there.
Because when we did the subdivision, it was right there on the plat.
Yeah. You were gonna say something.
No, I was just saying.
Okay.
I wonder if you can, because there's a reason we
Mhm.
set poles on property lines. That way you can hit both and they're not running across each other.
Yep.
And we'll actually move poles to property lines just for
Yeah.
that.
But I want to look into that. That is something that,
kind of
It's
becomes
always-
a permanent stop, don't
yeah,
it?
yeah, and that's the way most people look at it. They look at the telephone pole and, okay, that's my property line.
On this side, you on that
Most
side.
time it's closed. It might not be 100%.
It'll get you within a foot or two.
Yeah, it's close enough for golf.
Yeah. So that is one of the things, one of the
Yeah, I
other
think-
things that I want to do on this next, like I said, what I said when I was voted back in as chairman, I didn't want to get into any more projects that we're going to extend past the election. If we can't complete it between now and the election time, we'll just wait. Stormwater drainage, we've got to come up with some regulations there. I at least want that started.
Please,
This
thank
year.
you.
Oh, yeah,
Please.
And we'll,
Probably need to finish it for September, maybe,
for August.
or August, yeah, for August.
And to that, David, I went ahead and contacted Hinton Engineering.
Mhm.
And they monitor and they help with stormwater ordinances in Macon County. And I've got a copy of what they've done for Macon County that we
Great.
can kind of look at.
that'll be a great starting framework. I appreciate
We
that.
don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, that does need to be put, we do have to hit the fast forward button on this move.
Because it is.
There's not enough time for a couple, 3 and 4 month deliberations.
Yeah.
No.
There's a lot of damage that's being caused right now.
Yes.
talking with Tony Spears, who ends up digging out most of these ditches that fill up with sediment, trying to keep the ditches clear to keep water off the roads. And he's talking to me about how bad old 25 has gotten with all the new construction. It's just rooftops are just dumping it. And I mean, he's digging out every time big rain, he's having to go back and clean out ditches because so much sediment washes down into those ditches. We've got to come up with some sort of way that, okay, you build a house, you got to control the water coming off that roof. Whether you run it down into rock, gravel beds, so it can be dispersed off into the ground, but the runoff on top of the ground, I mean, I can tell you now, you get a good gully washer hitting Trousdale County,
Oh, yeah.
East Main will flood now,
Mhm.
right there by the storage buildings because of all the water coming off of Ridgecrest subdivision.
Ridgecrest.
Yes, behind Dollar, the General Dollar,
Hickory.
Hickory Ridge. I said Ridgecrest, that's yours. That's where my other house was. Hickory Ridge. Coming off that in Acorn, the water that comes down off that, it drains into that culvert in front of the church, goes right underneath, and then floods out East Main. So you end up with a big puddle in front at the end of Hickory Ridge there at Dollar General that runs off into 25. And then East Main gets flooded out. It's happened every major rain we got this year. And there's nothing anyone can do because we didn't do due diligence on that development.
It comes down.
And all of it washes down. And it's pushing down the retaining wall behind Dollar General. They've had to redo that twice now. Because it hits that wall and then just washes all the dirt out from behind the wall.
Are they
Water's
still
fine.
building there?
Yes, ma'am.
So do they have permission to continue to build?
That you have talked to the
Yes.
building official.
Yes.
You can't stop them from building a new house until that issue gets solved?
That issue was already approved through planning and everything else. All those plats that was signed off by the roads department. It was signed off by all the people that were supposed to be looking at that.
So once the plats are in, you can build your house because
Yep.
it's been approved.
Well, subdivision was approved.
It wasn't a problem when all that was going on.
Oh, it was a problem.
But
it was just
you added all
a
those
problem.
rooftops, then the problem's been magnified to the point of, oh.
Still building, there's no way to stop further building.
There's no ordinance that tells them they have to do anything more than what has already been done.
So here's what,
The thing to do,
Before we start,
the thing we have to do is not allow this to repeat.
right, but this one is a special case where
We can't allow it to
I've
repeat.
looked at it. I've also gotten Mid-10 to look at the erosion plan as well. Each separate house that now is being built has to follow what the erosion plan says that was adopted. And they're having to do extra in order to get a CO on that house.
But the previous two building officials didn't. I know Sam tried a little bit, and I live in that subdivision, so that's how I can speak to. I've been there now almost 10 years. And then I've got other, neighbors who've been there even longer. And they've all been dealing with this water. That whole hillside is rock. And so there's no dirt to absorb it. What Sam did is he held occupancy permits until the builder ran all the big rock, about yay big, and made riprap.
Yes.
And made drainage between the properties. So that when the water came off the road, instead of coming and hitting dirt and then running across someone's foundation around their house, it stayed in that ditch and went out. The problem that Dollar General's having is the two neighbors that shared the ditch down there decided, well, that's not good. They went and concreted that ditch and sped it up like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, yeah.
And so when it rains, I mean, it is a rapid coming off there. Without the rock there slowing that water down, what it was doing is the rock was slowing the water down. The water was pushing off into their yards. So they wanted it out. That's the only thing I can see. Otherwise, it's a mess.
All they did was
We need
create a
to-
viaduct.
And they did. So what we need to do is we need to have ordinances dealing with drain water. We got to do something.
There, in all honesty, I mean, I've thought about this, David,
Mhm.
with the amount of growth, the impending growth that we're looking at, especially with the 141 corridor extension out there, with all that zoning the way that it is out there.
Yep.
we should probably have a stormwater mitigation committee.
We probably should. I mean, this is really a big,
Lovely, what do you think? I mean, there needs, I mean, with
extreme.
with all of the amount of growth we've got,
Mhm.
adding that to any of these other subcommittees, something's gonna fall through the cracks. I think there needs to be, we need to adopt just a severe stormwater mitigation subcommittee, just to look at that, because that is going to be, that we're one more subdivision or apartment complex away from that really being that's on our toes and it's pressing.
if you're gonna do that committee though, you're gonna need somebody from planning, you're gonna need somebody from the commission,
I know,
but you're gonna need somebody from the road department.
if there's gonna, well, yes, and
And
then,
the problem you're gonna have there is I've already been sitting in a videoed meeting during planning and had Bill Struggs tell every one of us, if you guys are gonna do this subdivision on Thompson Lane, we'll schedule it for this coming spring, which would have been last spring. And we'll widen that out to support that traffic. Are you sure you can do that? Yes, sir. I'll have it on next spring because this was a fall review. Who's seen Thompson Lane widened? Have you seen any starting of construction? on Thompson Lane?
Somebody put some pipe in the ground. It's down there where that that pond.
They've done something.
So
The other
they're having
day.
an issue with a light pole is what because I've asked.
Yeah.
And they have, so a light pole, I don't know if it's the pole that has the light for the school. I'm not sure which one it is, but some light pole has to be moved. So I don't know.
on that topic,
AT&T.
does that need to go, does the formation of this, that needs to go through a commissioner? Does that need to be something like BZA that is not a body that is part of the commission?
That needs to be, I would honestly, I would pull politics out of that.
Take it,
And I would do it as an advisory board,
exactly.
and you can do it as an advisory board to planning and to this. And that gives a reason for it, because both need to address it.
Well,
And
I would like if you could have that conversation with whether it be planning and or BZA. All those people should be aware of the fact that, and get their feedback if they think there's a necessity for this. I honestly think that I don't think it's a want. I think it's a need.
we started picking it up in planning when we were doing all the other
I just think that needs to be a tightened focus of
When you
just.
bring it up to the builders now, and
I
you get
agree
most of them to do it.
I do. And
But there's a lot
I
of
talked
pushback
about
to
it
it
in
also.
not
Well,
so much.
That committee would be the ones that would, the favorable, non-favorable recommendation, and then also look at plans for stormwater runoff. I mean, this type of an advisory committee exists in other parts of the country.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
It does. I mean, there is nothing but, there is entire.
So you're not talking about doing a committee just for helping coming up with the regulation. You're talking about a committee that they've just focused on site plans
When the
For what
site plan
they're-
comes in, it needs to be reviewed by them as well.
for drainage.
Yes. I'm just saying, man, this is a pink elephant that everybody's just running around wearing.
The members need to have some kind of knowledge.
I would say that there needs to be at least, there needs to be a broad.
You would want at least one engineer on there. You would want someone from the road department, because they're gonna have.
Evan from Mid-10 should probably, I mean, just like he's on, with the water board.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is important.
So
And so that would be a standalone. So when a site plan came through, it would come through them first and then finish in planning.
well, not a site plan.
Well, yeah,
No, not necessarily a site plan, because what about,
because on the site plan, they've got to have their drainage listed.
so here's the thing. We have stormwater ordinances, but it's only in the subdivision regulations.
Exactly.
Only.
It needs to be for every house.
So they
Indeed.
have separate ordinances for individuals that are going out there and they thought a lot. Oh my goodness, they want to build their dream house. There's not any stormwater ordinance for me to enforce for an individual builder to put up the riprap, to put up
To keep it off their neighbor's property.
off the neighbor's property.
Out of the
Now,
road.
And that's
some
what,
of those I have asked to do, like the larger
Okay.
homes, these on Bass Road. They did that so that it didn't, because they had high grading.
They're from Lebanon and they knew what to do.
they were trying to keep value of the house.
But it even needs to be for a big, somebody building a barn. I mean, barn runs off the barn. It's-
So I-
Warehouses, all that.
Yeah, where everything.
So listening to this discussion, I'm seeing it as a two-pronged situation here. One, we need the ordinances for stormwater runoff for all properties, not just major subdivisions the way we have it now.
All
For all
properties in
properties.
one way or another affect
Yes.
the others
Exactly.
when you put a roof on
And
it.
as we're becoming a more dense populated area, it affects more and more. So I get that. But then the second part of that is having that committee, that stormwater committee. So you've got 5 people there and they review every site plan, making sure it meets the requirements that we have set up. And then it advances to planning. Now, planning does that. If you have the ordinances in
But it
place,
can
we
come
can
to,
do
it
that.
can come to planning with a favorable or non-favorable, along with their recommendation for mitigating. Before it comes to planning.
Because we kind of have that with Amanda Harrington as our staff. She kind of, if you have an ordinance, she makes sure every site plan meets every ordinance.
But that issue over there in your subdivision wouldn't happen if we had an oversight committee and things didn't fall.
If we had the regulations, it wouldn't have happened. Because currently, you've got to have like a 15% grade before you hit our regulations.
But and if it doesn't pass that committee, they're not gonna take it to planning. That will stop them from paying any more money till they.
It'll
go
stop them until they
to
come back and find a way to mitigate stormwater.
Right.
This is also what they call plan review.
Mhm.
And other jurisdictions have plan reviews. And that does come through the building office where they do plan reviews. They look at, okay, does this meet the current building codes? Does this meet that? Does this meet this? And we had talked about, stormwater that has to be inspected. They have to have, what do they call it? SWIPs. Inspections on all these different subdivisions and stuff like that. People from TDEC have to come and inspect that. So where am I going with that?
First, we
I
need to
think
get the
we need to-
ordinance. We need to get
We need to, look at it.
We need the ordinances done.
stormwater, we need to get that part first.
How
And
about
then,
then let's look at what
spread
I
out.
got from Mid-10 Engineering that
Yes.
Macon County has adopted.
Yep.
And let's look at that and see what they do. I like the idea of the committee.
It's just where does that committee fit in the process?
Yeah, I don't know if it needs to go through the committee.
I'd like the idea of it going before planning, so when it gets to planning,
This
it's
has been solved.
yeah,
it's already a solved issue. And that's something that you can be, your department can be instrumental in. The problem is now we're growing your department.
Well,
And I don't know if the full commission is going to agree with that. But it does give you a committee that is specifically trained with stormwater drainage, and that's their focus. So it would, and it doesn't have to be commissioners on it, because commissioners don't necessarily have the knowledge that you need.
They don't possess the tools. It needs to be a target skill set, yes.
You need to have that planner on there, that experienced planner, and you need to have that engineer. And you could do it with 3 people, honestly.
And you're
You know,
gonna
you'd
need
have
somebody from
Rosalie.
highway.
You'd have Rosalie, you'd have the engineer, you'd have someone from the highway, and 4, because we already have Amanda Harrington on staff. And then you'd have a 5th person, just because you'd want an odd number for voting purposes. I could see that being very beneficial. I can also see that as another cost of growth.
what about water department? Have somebody from the water department.
Water department would be your 5th person.
Yep.
And there's your
In all honesty, this has to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, or we're gonna continue.
what's going to happen is we're going to destroy the value of the property in Trousdale County, because the only people who aren't going to be affected are the ones at the top of the hill.
You got people that are gonna be living.
You're gonna have
in
more
flood zones that
flooding.
We're not in flood zones, and that's.
Exactly. You're going to have people having to pay for flood insurance that didn't have to do that before. because we didn't do our job in controlling the growth in Charleston County. You think people complain now because their cost of insurance because they don't have fire protection? Wait till they gotta pay for flood insurance.
Do you?
No, ma'am, if my house floods, y'all are all underwater.
Same here. Same here. If my house floods, it's Old Testament stuff.
Yeah.
They try.
I-
So,
I'm, yeah, the only people safer than me are the ones up in Cato and up on Gravelly Hill. I mean, my property sits up pretty high.
I think I'm almost 60 feet above 25.
Well, I pay flood insurance.
Yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
But not surprised, flood insurance is higher on a creek than it is a river.
Yeah, because you get more flash flooded.
I thought that was what was gonna get me out of buying the house.
Oh, okay,
I was wrong.
you were wrong.
You probably got a little discount.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
$1,500 a year.
Yeah.
I thought that
I
was.
mean,
That's not bad.
that's really not bad. I've seen it much higher.
So before this was brought up, we were talking about something else that we didn't write down and we need to go further with. Very first thing we were talking
The
about.
PUD fees, is
Yes,
that what you're thinking?
Yes.
had to do with the PUD and, yeah. Well, it was what? Remember we were saying,
Well, we're still,
and you said, well, that's what we're talking about now.
yeah,
I almost think we need to decide if we're gonna go put it only before we try to set.
That's what it was. Do we, that's what I would like to go on,
are we recommending that we only do PUDs for residential and commercial?
that we take R2 and 3 off the book.
Zones?
That's what they're asking.
I think we can-
I don't think we can do that either. I don't know that we'd strike those.
Mm-mm.
keep
But-
it down, but
Now, you don't have to remove them. You can just say, in order for you to do that, you have to do it.
They
through
follow
PUD.
that
you
criteria.
have to do a PUD. And they're still there, which,
Then our commission does need to be
So
educated.
Yeah.
the PUD, remember we put the restriction 2 acres.
Yeah, so everything under 2 acres, you still have to have a zone for.
Yeah. The
And
R2
PUDs,
or
yeah. So, I mean, and that's still R1 at that.
Not 2 acres.
Well, 2 acres would
Not
be,
14.
yeah, I guess. 2.
You just, the days of people coming in and going, going all kinds of road cowboy, they go through site planning and they get their their zoning and their plan for their property, then they go 180 degrees the other direction.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
Well, council has been very open, shall we say.
Those days are over.
well,
We
every
can't
county's learned.
continue that.
Every county's learned. I mean,
When you are sparsely populated, that stuff can slide. When you become a densely populated area, those days are over.
Now, something you said a minute ago, and I've asked this several times, and I thought I knew it right. These places that are outside the city limits that we have voted that they could have sewage, city services. Didn't that automatically put them in the city and now they're gonna pay city taxes? Well, I've had a yes and I've had a no.
Well, I mean, the thing is it should, but there are areas where you can gain access to city sewage that are not in urban services.
Yes.
But they pay property tax if they're annexed
But they're-
into the urban
But we've
services.
never used that
So-
word annex.
But
in our
they, because we just did annex.
Phoenix is on there.
So where you're getting
It's on,
confused,
they never,
Is
what
the
we've
answer
done,
is yes.
it says they're being annexed.
Taylor, Zach Taylor,
Yeah,
Yeah.
did he come into the city limits?
Yes.
yes.
Good.
We just annexed
Cemetery Road and, was it Harry or Harold?
Very low.
Air Lane.
That was just
And
annexed into the city.
And then I was told yes, but
Yes.
then I
There
keep
are,
getting yeses and nos.
because there are properties that are outside the city limits by 1 or 2 lots that have sewer.
Yep.
But do not pay city property tax.
Yep.
But they've had it for a long time.
No,
No, they just got it.
Well, why did we do that?
Well, they still pay sewer.
They still pay sewer,
They
They just don't have,
Pay city tax.
they don't have trash.
but they're not in the city.
They're not,
They don't have
There's
trash pickup.
sewer
They
going
just have sewer.
along the property going towards the prison.
Yep.
So the
What-
developer paid to have sewer taps put in. Why not?
But why shouldn't we, you go to Lebanon,
Mhm.
every time they build something big, there comes that sign on that further.
Well, but this,
The city
that's why
limits
this is
sign.
just right beside the road. It's not the whole.
Right, it's
Yeah.
not,
It's just a swath
It's
beside.
just, it's just,
You're gonna have a city, an urban district then that looks like this,
Well, I mean.
going all
or
the
out
way
there
around.
along narrow strip.
Yeah.
And then-
Amoeba.
But what's gonna happen as the development continues out there, that's when we will look at annexation and moving the line.
Now, I have
Urban
said,
services, as it
It'll get
becomes dense.
Of this city, old city.
Right now, it won't, but
annexed out
it will
there
time to
like
come.
this Now, anyway,
well,
well, you just don't have. a
My
big
thoughts-
fight, we'd have-
Say that again.
my thoughts have been from the get-go, even before I was a commissioner. Trousdale County voted to be a metro, one government. We should all be paying the same tax rate.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be a difference. Now, the
But see, I
problem
don't
with that
think
is,
sewage.
that's the problem. I get benefits in the urban that you don't.
And both those benefits.
I get sewer, I get trash pickup, and I get fire protection.
I sold property out in the county and moved to urban services because I got tired of having to haul my trash to the convenience center only to get there to find the gate,
Trash.
to find the gate locked. And I've got a pickup truck bed full of trash and then I gotta go to Nashville and haul trash down there and then haul it back. Some of it blows out and I gotta get out, and pick it up off the side of the road. I got tired of that.
So the other thing then becomes, as we do expand out, because who knows what Zach Taylor ends up building on that property? He could put a huge apartment complex.
He doesn't own it anymore.
Okay,
It's been sold.
Well-
Yes, it has been.
then that property owner could put whatever, I mean, because it's not R1.
It's R3.
So that,
Lord,
With
There's
sewer
no
access.
put.
with sewer access on
oh
multiple.
Lord.
Yep, no, yeah, and this was.
No, it's
done
open. It's open R3.
3 years
I
ago,
voted against.
3 years ago.
So
I saw Beller and him make eyes after it got done. No, they were not in cahoots. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But,
all right, so moving on.
On that note,
Yeah.
That is an issue though, as we're growing, is that's extra cost, that's extra burden on our water department. That does kind of come back to the stormwater. Where that water goes, some of that is actually affecting our sewage issues. And so, I mean, you go down Lock 6, that used to be a terrible issue. That piece of property there at the corner of
Yeah.
Lock 6, and that thing would flood and then the pumps would,
Oh,
get
yeah,
messed up.
water
and-
thing, be way steep,
Yeah.
it's not deep.
And so then all the sewage that was getting pumped up the hill, well, then it all kind of just,
Pump the water too.
and you would end up with stuff over into Goose Creek, and it was a mess, all because of water runoff. So I see it as exactly as Lonnie was saying. This is an immediate problem
yes.
that we have avoided dealing with.
so which one we're gonna take up first? The water or this PUD that we first brought up at the very beginning? Or
PUD
can
needs to
we
be,
do them together?
no, PUD needs to be first because it's in this packet going before the commission.
Yeah.
We need to plan on what to charge.
Yep.
Because as soon as we pass this, I will have people come to my office saying, I want to file for a PUD.
And right now, she has a structure is existing. If we want to change that structure, now's the time we need to decide that.
And you,
And with it.
they want to do commercial and housing
Yes.
together. So
Yes.
we may get more fast food. Some kind of
And
food
they
here.
live above the restaurant there? What do you mean?
Well, I know one particular business owner who owns a gas station who's been trying to put a double wide behind that gas station for quite some time.
Yeah. True.
But that's an existing property, so I don't know if a PUD would go with it.
If they rezone it to a PUD and they bring forward a site plan that
Yeah.
addresses that, then.
Yeah.
And if it has, meets all the boxes of infrastructure.
Do we have mobile home? Do we talk about mobile homes in our PUDs? Are they just gonna be allowed?
It'll follow all the other zoning.
Yeah, all the other zonings.
So-
Mobile homes are allowed.
But mobile home is considered by,
Probably.
Rick went very in depth in this. A mobile home is a single wide trailer. Anything double wide or bigger is considered as a home. Whether it's
That's what I'm saying.
modular
Can
or
someone come in and do a PUD and it just be a big trailer park?
if we approve that PUD.
No, we have
We
ordinances.
don't have to approve rezonings. That would include a PUD.
we have ordinances for a trailer park and all the things that they have to do in order to have a trailer park.
So should they be
We don't
point
have
to
any.
each other? Should the trailer park point to the PUD and
They're all
all
are.
point to the trailer
No,
park?
but the PUD,
Ain't no
it
hill.
points back to the other zoning. So if you're an R3, you're an R3 PUD, you still have to follow all the R3 zoning regulations. And actually in the PUD, I think it's a little more restrictive in certain areas.
You're following all the same stuff. Just the PUD is you gotta tell us exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you stick to it, or you have to have it read.
You can't hold them close to the
But,
house.
but if it's in there, we have to approve it. My question is, can someone come in for a trailer park? But you've already answered that. There's, something in there for the trailer.
Trailer parks are listed.
Right.
But you have to meet those qualifications.
And there's acreage qualifications for that. There's zoning qualifications for that. Then there's specifics of how.
In qualifications
Yes, ma'am.
is the PUD is a zone.
Yes, ma'am. But
Are they going to overlap?
yes,
Are we still gonna be able to deny a trailer park?
yes.
Okay.
If you can deny it based on zoning. You cannot say no, you cannot deny a trailer park just because you don't want a trailer park. If the trailer park fits zoning, you
Correct.
have to approve it.
You get into a constitutional battle when you tell somebody they can't do something with something within their zone.
Just wanna make sure the PUD doesn't override our trailer park
You can build a car.
regulations.
It's not, PUD's not changing any of the regulations.
So. Okay, next month we're gonna do this
Yes. So before we move on any further, because we've gotten a couple of different rabbit trails here. On the cost of doing a PUD, are we gonna just leave it the way it is? Or are we going to change the fee for doing a PUD? What is the recommendation, or is there any at all?
I mean, I don't think people should have to pay an exorbitant fee to go. I mean,
I agree.
maybe I'm wrong, but I think maybe it should be no different.
Yeah.
It's just PUD it's just a different avenue.
It is. And I think it's.
And are we able to try this and then maybe implement PUD only at some juncture?
We're gonna
Yes.
lose money.
I think basically you're trying to take care of it now.
I'm asking the question, do we, because I don't, what I don't want to get into is we get this to full commission and the commission says, well, why aren't we charging more for this? Or why aren't we charging less? I want to have an answer.
Well, hold on.
Because this is what the
You just
committee
said,
decided.
What?
Try this and then go to PUD only later. That's what I was just talking
That's
about.
what I'm saying, is
Talking
that
about the fees.
The fees.
the fees, but I'm talking about as far as the PUD zoning.
All right, back up. You want to make the PUD zoning a little bit less than the normal fees
Currently, that's the way it is.
to try to
It's 250 less.
persuade. them
Leave
to
it that
go with
way.
PUD, to do
Yes.
PUD on their own, while they still have the option.
And then let's get this into a point where it's
the norm.
the norm, and then we go to PUD only.
Yeah.
With a different fee schedule.
Yeah, for fee later.
Because if we set this up now,
Let's get it started
we're looking at
with,
at least,
with the less money.
I'd say at least a 30% turnover in the new commission coming on.
Oh,
Based on who's running and not running. Is that a fair assessment? So as these
And
new
there's some
people
of us that are running, they're being threatened that people are coming after our spotting. Well, you could have
Yeah.
80% turnover.
could be. So my point is, this would be a great time to get something locked in and done so that when the new commissioners come in, they can be educated on here's the process.
Oh, they're gonna get educated.
Unless they come in and decide that they don't like this. It's all dirty and scummy and we don't want to do this. No
But
more.
I mean, that's their right, but at least the training would be there on the front end of here's how the PUDs work. Here's why we're doing the PUDs.
Before
Do
then.
that. Yes. But as you educate them, you get them passing more PUDs instead of opening zonings, and then it just becomes the normal, because that's the way everyone was.
A little cheaper to do a PUD, so you get them used to it, and then,
Mhm.
Yep.
and then down the road, they're
Any
not.
emotion to that effect.
So, hold on.
I still don't know what the prices
Clarification,
are.
so I'm still having just a little bit of issue with
Okay.
just charging $350 for a PUD. When you're doing a rezone evaluation and a site plan evaluation,
But it's only one meeting.
Oh, I know what that other thing was.
but No, I get it, but it's
skip
more
that.
time for the planning commission.
It is. It's more involved for staff and everything. But at our current situation, and that's why I keep saying, if you want to change it, give me a reason and a motion. Right now, this is the way it's set up.
Why don't we, instead of $350 for the PUD, do $450, just add $100 extra, and that'll help defray the extra time spent, because somebody's getting paid to evaluate this stuff.
450 would still be cheaper than doing open zoning because that's 600.
There you go.
So
Okay.
if that's what you want to do, I need a motion on it. And we'll
Motion.
send it with a phrase.
Second.
There you go, right there.
Vote. Aye. Aye.
All in favor?
All right.
So that's
Thank
what if it hadn't slipped out of my mind again, y'all. Normal. We were talking. We were talking about this new committee. That's what I was trying to get back to.
Okay.
And getting this new committee for the stormwater.
Mhm.
That's where we kind of went off from there.
Right.
And
That's coming next week.
that's coming next meeting then,
Yeah.
before
Yes.
we
I'm
go
gonna
to
give
the
everybody,
other.
in fact, when we leave here, I'm gonna be sending everybody copies of that stormwater ordinances that I have. And,
You look at,
and I've already talked with Amanda Harrington about that, saying, look, this has got to be our focus.
And you have suggestions for that committee, people's
Mhm.
names,
we need, but.
get it going. And then we have to decide also which order they're gonna go. They're gonna go to that before they ever go to planning. Because
We'll work on that once we get the ordinances in place, because you'll have to have that in the ordinance.
it just kind of seems fair.
It does, but you'll want that outline in the ordinance
Okay.
of what your process is, so that way everyone knows what to do. So as far as the motion that we just voted on, I will get the ordinance, changed. If you'll look in your packet, I believe. No, Amy did not include
No,
that.
I'll have to see it.
I was wanting her to include the cover sheet for the ordinance. I will get that cover sheet, changed to have the 450 for PUD zoning included in that? Or do you think we just need to have that separate? Cause I don't want that change to affect this. So do you are you wanting to do two ordinances? One ordinance for the PUD charge and then this as a standalone
Yeah.
ordinance?
I think we need to make this as easy
That's what I'm
as
saying.
possible.
Yeah.
Don't.
For
It's a-
everybody.
I
Just
will get with her then.
Next ready to go.
Difficulties
next
is,
Yeah, this is
even
ready
though
to
you
go
tell them it's
next commission
something,
meeting.
the greatest thing in the world for Charles County, it's still.
But we've been talking
Buddy,
about it, and they're asking.
You're
about
preaching
it.
to the choir, bud.
You've got several commissioners saying, I can't wait till we adopt that.
So just for clarification purposes, so I know exactly what I'm doing on this. So what I'm gonna do is have Ms. Thomas make up an ordinance stating the cost of permitting for a PUD be $450. It'll be just a straight up ordinance. And that will, so we'll have this to vote on, and then that ordinance will just follow. If the chair, same meeting, we got plenty of time to do it. We voted on it
No,
here.
I mean, okay.
As long as the chairman's okay with that on his agenda. I think we've already voted to approve that.
Not the two
Oh, the two ordinances.
different ordinances. I think we probably need to.
You're a non-voting member,
right?
but yeah, if someone wants to make a motion that we do that and send that ordinance forward.
You think it
I'll
should
entertain
be
that.
Sunday?
Yeah, I thought it did, but I'll make
Yeah.
that motion.
Well, it's still in their mind. I said, yay, we get PUDs. Now we need to make sure. Okay.
Okay,
It
so
needs to be, put
David's
these
making-
first,
Jude's
and that other one
seconding
needs to be farther down.
all in favor? It passes. So that's what we'll have drawn up. So we'll have two ordinances coming from this department from the February meeting, the full commission.
Try to have
Is-
flood first, and then the
Yes.
flood process it later.
It doesn't make any sense to have the
Put it
price
on
first
the
if we don't have a
agenda.
flood. So I agree with that. Is there Rosalie, do you have anything for us?
I did go to a training today on the natural disaster recovery, and lots of material. TDEC held the training. They have 8 different agencies within TDEC that handles all kinds of things. So I'll be meeting with Public Works. I'll be also meeting with EMA just to kind of see where are we and do we have this in our plan. So I have a lot of information. I've also asked for a copy of their PowerPoint presentation because how many underground storage tanks do we have in the county? Does anybody know?
I know we have them.
We do, but do we have a
What,
list?
gas tanks?
Underground storage tanks.
I know we've got underground propane tanks. We've got
Now,
gasoline
we're
tanks.
talking large quantity.
We're talking, I know there's a propane tank buried beside me that's at least 500 gallons.
Okay.
Where you live now?
Yes,
So-
ma'am.
I know
They spent a lot of money to
has a
put that
record,
propane tank
and they
in.
have to do inspections. Do we know where they are? In case of a disaster, we need to know where all these storage tanks are.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be doing some
Okay.
reconnaissance and just meeting with people and saying,
Nobody don't have
okay,
where
here's the
they're,
information I have, what do we have?
big old backhoe.
Yeah.
Boom.
You sell your house and you lose track of that. That's important. You bringing that up reminded me of something. So right now, the way our temporary use permitting is done
Yes.
for events and just temporary commercial stuff, whatnot, that goes through Public Works. It does not go through Rosalie's office. So there's no fees that are the fees that are on the books for those permits are not being received. Public Works is just giving, okay, yep, you're good to go.
Or what now?
For temporary, for like festivals and stuff, for like downtown sound, they're just given a permit. The fees that are already set up and on the books,
They're not collecting.
it's not being collected.
Funny to think that they find when you read your ordinances.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
It
thought
looked like
was,
farmer's market and everything.
Yeah.
Thanks.
yeah,
Farm.
yeah, carnivals, it's all listed,
Yes.
but it's not being collected. So Rosalie's office has the software. We already approved that in her budget. She's got the software for those permits to not only issue the permits, but to collect those fees that go with that. So the discussion has been, and I would like to have, I want to talk in Public Works about it. Most of you are on Public Works also. So, the thought is to take that out of Public Works and put that into
It makes sense,
Yeah.
just what little you
Into
said.
code.
They're not gonna collect it. Get away from them.
I'm pretty sure, I haven't had a conversation with Cliff yet, but talking with Mrs. Thomas, she was very adamant that he would have no problem with having that taken away from him and he would gladly give it to whoever wanted it. So I will talk with him before the next Public Works, but I just wanted to let y'all know of that situation. Is that something this committee wants done?
Yeah. Well, like that money.
So I will talk with him. What I'll probably be doing is having them make a motion that it gets sent to Rosalie's office. If that motion passes, then that's done and we're all good. That's enough. Ms. Thomas doesn't believe that I need to do that. I think just to have it on public record, I think that's the better way of doing it, is just having a vote in Public
It
Works.
shows that they voted to send it to
Yep.
her.
Would there be any reason she would deny one? Have they ever done it?
I
Is it
don't
gonna be work to it? You know what I mean by that?
I don't know if because they're not getting inspected either, because there's no permit.
She
So,
probably won't like fireworks station by the gas company.
well, yeah. And if she does, then that's a conversation for this committee to have for oversight. Something got missed.
So that's right. That's all those fireworks
Yeah.
in July and Christmas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's the amount of money?
Don't know.
Not much.
It may go up.
It's not much.
Try smart, because Johnny Curry used to do it back in his younger days.
Yeah, but food.
And it was big money. They had to pay out for have the tents and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
for
like
the
my
permit.
first recliner.
Gallons was really high. He said.
Yeah.
They were really high. But they made
Alright.
money, but
Is there anything else?
like most of them, adjourned.
All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
All right, Rose.